So the message here, I think, for the newcomer to the 1031 world is that it's amazing how many different kinds of assets are eligible for 1031 treatment, and also there's a tremendous amount of flexibility there, and you may be able to create value in places you would not have imagined on your own. Now the slide in front of you now talks specifically about some kinds of assets, fairly common sorts of assets that you might have in your business that would be eligible.
No, exactly right, Sam. I mean, when we look at corporations in America, or high net worth individuals, several areas come up. We see corporations owning artwork. That is an actual asset of that company. We see high net worth individuals owning artwork. We see people having aircrafts, their own planes. We see warehouses. We do exchanges for the equine market. The high net worth individuals are constantly turning over their their stock of racehorses.
Right.
We see collectibles used for like kind exchanges. The real estate market is so interesting because people continually think real estate as a building that they rent or an apartment complex that they rent out. Very rarely they're thinking about the warehouse they actually use in their own business.
Right.
And they're thinking about that piece of land that they purchased 10 years ago in hopes of building a future site. These are all eligible for like-kind exchanges. We see companies that are moving across the country, moving out of one area and moving to another part of the country, selling the piece of vacant land and buying that warehouse across the country. So what we really want to encourage companies to look at is, let's just not think about real estate about the office buildings you rent. Think about it for all the assets that you're using every single day in your organization.
Now the next slide, I think we're finally cutting to chase. What's the value? Now that I know a little bit about what a 1031 exchange is, the question becomes, well, why do I care? What's in it for me?
Well, cash. Cash, cash, cash.
That's the ultimate answer, isn't it?
You know, when we have liquidity crises like we have right now, we see banks pulling back on the restrictions of what it takes to get a line of credit. You know, it's the old adage, cash is king. And today it means more than ever. If I have an opportunity to sell an asset and defer recognizing the gain, therefore defer recognizing 40%, we're talking ordinary income tax rates, 40% of that payment needs to go to the government. If I can use that money back into my operations to reinvest back into the same company and grow, that's cash I usually would never have. I would have to go find another alternative source of cash. Go to the bank. Well, banks aren't really lending that much today. Got to go get another line of credit. That's harder to do. Well, I'll hit my reserves. Well, our reserves have all been depleted. So like-kind exchanges are a tremendous interest-free loan from the government. They're an alternative source of cash that we've had available to us since 1921. We just haven't tapped into that line.
And someone I was talking to a few days ago was pointing out that if you can find cash, certainly the cash that you already have is cheaper than borrowing other people's cash.
Always, always. It's always more expensive, you know, to number one, pay your taxes today than defer those in the future, and it's always more expensive to use someone else's cash.
And if you're selling assets, as the numbers on the screen indicate, you know, if you sell $1 million worth of assets, that's, you know, $400,000 to $500,000. You've got a choice. You can either give that to the IRS or you can pump it back into your own business.
Right. And, you know, I always tell people about like-kind exchanges. I define them as the ultimate stimulus package. We've all heard that term round and round. I heard again today that probably we're going to get another stimulus package. Like-kind exchanges has been the ultimate stimulus package. There is no sunset on this. Any tax-paying company in the United States can take advantage of this. You can use it for buying, selling your old equipment and buying new or used, as long as you replace it back into your place of business. I don't know anything else that the government gives us to say, I'll tell you what, we'll give you a tax advantage as long as you reinvest back into your own business. And that's exactly what like-kind exchanges are doing.
Which is a tremendous play if you're a small to mid-sized business as well.
Oh, it's tremendous. You know, it's a good point because usually we talk about tax plays for the Fortune 1000s.
Sure.
Accruit services companies that are two-people organizations all the way up to Fortune 10 companies. So this is one of those parts of the tax code that is open to all sizes of business, and which is really nice to see.
Now, we've been getting this other question, this next question, a bit more lately as the economy has been a little more difficult. What if you're NOLs? What if you're not making money and paying taxes right now?
Well, we are. We're seeing that a lot right now. So I look at this two ways. I look at this if you're currently in a like-kind exchange program and you're now experiencing net operating losses, what do you do with your current program? And I say you continue going. Keep moving forward, because most healthy companies in today's environment are going to get out of those net operating losses. And at that time, they're putting more deferrals away. They're reinvesting back into their company. And eventually, their operating income will become profitable. If you're in a net operating loss and you have not chosen to start a like-kind exchange program, understand when you think you're going to be coming out. Because what you're doing, if you are recognizing gains today, you're just offsetting operating losses. I think it's throwing good money at bad. Set them aside. Start a like-kind exchange program. Build up that deferral. Reinvest into your company. By doing that, you will be also increasing your chances of coming out of net operating loss. At the same time, you're generating more cash for your company because you're deferring the taxes today, and you still have that net operating loss. Maybe it'll last you for another year or two. As a business owner, net operating losses aren't bad. We want to take advantage if we've got them.
Sure.
But we don't want to offset it by these incredible tax gains on assets that we're recognizing and then going out and buying another replacement.
Now we have some specific cases here on the screen. The first one, high basis versus low basis sales.
Yeah, what we mean by there is if you're currently in a like-kind exchange program, and actually even if you're not, one of the things we've encouraged our clients to do is treat taxes as an integral part of your business. Not something that you do at the end of the year. It's left down in the corner. It's a part of your day-to-day business. And if I had a choice of selling two assets that are identical, but one of the assets was purchased, let's say 5 years ago, and the other asset was purchased through a like-kind exchange, and it is also 5 years, both of those are going to have a basis of $0. So I sell those, I'm going to recognize the same amount of gain. But what if I have two assets that I purchased last year, and one of them happened to be going through a like-kind exchange program, and the other one wasn't? One of those actually has this artificially low tax basis. Or, outside of a like-kind exchange, what if I took advantage of bonus depreciation? I took 50% immediate write-off on my asset. And the other asset I didn't put in place in business as a piece of inventory I had, but I moved it over to, let's say, my rental fleet. Both identical pieces of equipment.
And from the customer's perspective, there's no difference.
No difference. The customer has no idea. Same hours, same color, same make, model, year, etc. But on the tax side, if I sell that asset with a low basis, I recognize so much more tax gain. Therefore, I've got to write so much larger of a tax bill and still go reinvest into a replacement property. If I sell that asset that has a high tax basis, my gain is very minimal. And these time and age, I don't want to recognize more gain than I have to.
Certainly. There's no point in giving away money. And then the next item, we hear this term a lot lately, bonus depreciation hangover.
Yeah, as I alluded to, one of the stimulus packages that we have heard about in the past allowed us to depreciate assets quicker on our tax books than actually the depreciation value on the street. So what this allowed us to do is write down a significant amount of the asset up front. Well, what's happening with that is now people are selling these assets and recognizing tremendous gains on assets that, let's say they held an asset for 3 years and it's a 5-year tax asset. Well, they wrote off most of it already because the first year they took a huge, huge hit. So one of the things a like-kind exchange is says, hey, we recognize it's artificially low. Let's take that gain and roll it over to a new replacement property, and let's defer that gain. Now you've got more cash working for you.